Okay, is Bitcoin history about to repeat itself? This is something that is really important to understand. We are, of course, going to be taking a look at the charts for Bitcoin, reviewing where things have been and where I think things have the potential to repeat themselves going further forward. As I get into the video, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. Let's jump down into the charts and start discussing what is going on with Bitcoin, right? So here we have Bitcoin paired up with the US dollar. We're on the 1-day Bitstamp data, right? So we can have this big macro view zoomed out and take a look at what's been going on. Now, you can see we have the first Bitcoin halving event over here. This one was back in 2012, November 2012. Then, of course, we have the second halving. Again, this one being basically July 2016. The third halving, this next kind of line here, coming in at the 11th of May 2020, most common one. It's one that we kind of know as the most recent. And then, of course, this year we have the fourth Bitcoin halving event coming in, I think, approximately 22nd of April 2024. So what we see here is some interesting kind of things that happen every 4 years or so. It's actually less than 4 years because it is more to do with the blocks than it is to do with a specific time as we understand it, as X amount of days and stuff like that. It's actually more to do with block propagation and that kind of stuff. Anyway, nonetheless, slightly less than 4 years. But this cycle we have seen time and time again. Now, if we take a look here, you can see the bear markets. I kind of loaded these in with some very simple trend lines. And it's basically every time that we've had these kind of bearish markets, they lead us into a Bitcoin halving, right? So we can see over here from the kind of highs that we saw in late 2013 into the bear market lows that we saw in 2015. Now, if I zoom in here, you can see, if I just bring this up here, we have the 50 SMA, the moving average, crossing above the 100 moving average, the white line there. And this bullish cross that we've seen after the Bitcoin has kind of bottomed out is leading us into a halving event. Okay, so as you can kind of see, this line down here is the second Bitcoin halving. This was July of 2016. You note that there was a big move to the downside after the halving event actually occurred there, and that's pretty common. The Bitcoin halving event tends to be quite lackluster, but it is a catalyst for bigger moves to the upside after the event has actually taken place, right? And now we know that the Bitcoin halving event in 2024 is going to be a pretty big one with everything that's going on, but I still expect us to be quite volatile all around the actual event itself. Okay, so we can see here back in 2016, we did drop after this halving event. This move to the downside was just in here at about 32%. Okay, it's going to vary depending on the market conditions and all that kind of stuff, but very much so that we had this bullish cross right here on the 50 moving average and the 100 moving average. This kind of led us up towards the Bitcoin halving event. Okay, if we come on over to the bear market that we saw back in 2017-18, as we kind of had this low of 2018, we do see that as we kind of exited out of the bear market here, that there was another bullish cross, the 50 moving average crossing above the 100 moving average there. And you can also see that there's one just up here as well, just before the Bitcoin halving event. That's the third Bitcoin halving event in May 2020. Now, we do know that this bullish cross here, realistically speaking, would have been the one that really would have just taken us up if it hadn't been for the pandemic crash, obviously bringing us down to the historical 2020 crash that we saw. So everything on this at the moment is looking really, really good, right? So we can see that we've had a couple of these bullish kind of crosses on the 50 moving average and the 100 moving average there, and it's happening before the Bitcoin halving event. Now, in the case of the Bitcoin halving event here, we saw pretty much just sideways ranging movements, and then we saw a bit of a takeoff to the upside into the 2021 bull market high. Now, as we see here, we had the bearish market, we come back down, and we can see here that again we've had the 50 moving average crossing above the 100 moving average there, and it's been dancing around a little bit, but we have most recently seen another bullish cross on this right over here as well, leading us into the next Bitcoin halving, right? The next halving being April of 2024. So at the moment, we are, of course, still holding the 50 moving average above the 100 moving average, sorry. And so we're still slightly bullish here as Bitcoin's price is pushing up towards that kind of 47, 48K all-time, bear market high that we had seen, specifically with the Bitcoin spot ETFs and the sell the news event right there. So we know that we had that high. We're pushing up against that resistance. Now, it's still possible that we push up a little bit more, still looking for that. And of course, Bitcoin halving event is going to be a volatile move in the market regardless. Now, what's happening after the Bitcoin halving event is really the catalyst here. So as we can kind of see, if I zoom back out of here, every time we've had one of these big halving events, the price has exploded to the upside. Now, we're yet to see that explosive move to the upside. That still puts us in real good territory for a great accumulation, right? Bitcoin's not likely to go up into a new all-time high until after the halving event, in my opinion, right? So we know that the all-time high is great. We're looking for probably some sideways ranging markets as we had seen in the previous kind of halving events, right? Whether that's the first, second, third Bitcoin halving events, they've all kind of either been decreasing in price or just going in a ranging sideways market up to a little bit after, about 4 weeks after the actual halving event. After that, of course, we see a big explosive growth in the Bitcoin price, right? We saw great growth in the very first kind of Bitcoin halving event. We saw great moves to the upside. We saw great moves in 2017, and we've seen pretty decent moves in 2021. Now, obviously, after this is going to be the huge opportunity. So we are a few months out of this, but nonetheless, anyone in kind of investing in crypto right now, or crypto in specifically Bitcoin, are going to be looking for some really good growth overall. Now, no one really knows where Bitcoin's price is likely to head. We can all kind of call out various different numbers, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 500,000, whatever it may be. We can all kind of get good kind of estimates going and all of that kind of stuff. Now, for the most part, we are not in some kind of 5-wave structural points or anything like that. So we're not looking for big kind of explosive moves to the upside that kind of exceed probably $150,000. I've kind of gone through this a number of different times already. We can see lots of different kind of potentials here in the market. So we can look at this in many, many different ways. But I would say that realistically, we're somewhere between 98,000 and 173,000. I think that's a nice place to kind of be aiming for. So all in all, this is a great place to kind of be thinking about and a great place to kind of start thinking about your trades. Now, if we were to kind of be going long on the market, we're going to want to make sure that we have good stop losses, right? I'm pretty confident in thinking that the bear market low is in. So if we want to be really super safe, we want to make sure that our stop losses are going to be lower than the previous low that we saw in 2022 if we were to kind of go long on the market. Outside of that, the next kind of key areas, if we don't want to kind of have really low leverage and kind of give ourselves that kind of breathing space, 25K looks good, but I think we run a higher risk of liquidation should some big pandemic or black swan event decide to take us down to those levels once again, as we had seen over here in 2020, right? Those are the risks that we kind of play in. We know that the bear market low was in, but obviously it took a pandemic to bring us right the way back down to those previous levels. Now that we can't rule those out because they're black swan events, we don't know them, we don't understand them, we don't see them coming necessarily. So we want to kind of be mindful of that. But if we wanted to, I guess 25K or lower is going to be kind of a nice place to kind of put your stop loss for going long. And we'll be targeting out kind of, anywhere between $98,000 and $173,000, which of course we'll be able to anchor in and zoom in on those ranges as we kind of get closer and closer to the time when we actually start to see those patterns and structures playing out. So everything's looking pretty good. We are reaching the upper area of this move. We will be looking for a bit of a cool off and some great opportunities to kind of load into some long positions, or if we're into spot, we can obviously build up those spot positions as well. But I wanted to put a video together taking a look at that macro view just so everyone can kind of see the context of what is going on here for Bitcoin. It's a great time to be in crypto, and it's a great time to kind of start building out those positions if you haven't done so already. Great opportunities are coming, and I do think we should have pretty decent portfolios and pretty decent positions out there at the moment, as we have had plenty of time during 2022 and early 2023 to be building out those positions. But don't rule out the idea of a black swan event, because they can come and take all your gains away very quickly. So be very mindful, keep up to date on the markets, and don't let your finger drop off the pulse of crypto. Why don't check out this video where I go through the technical analysis of Bitcoin on the smaller timeframes and share my thoughts and opinions on where I think it is heading.